What'd you do?
Let's...
What'd you do?
Okay.
What happened?
We have to start the entire show over.
Okay, that's fine.
Because, hi everybody. You should be seeing and hearing us now. Here's what happened. I'm bebopping along, thinking everything's great. However, I forgot to push the go live button. So the stream was going, but wasn't going anywhere.
Okay. So we're starting all over?
We have to start all over.
What do you think? I put these damn glasses back on. Alright.
You know what? And initially when I started the stream, I forgot to put it on our starting soon, cover. And then I had to, change that real fast. And then the mic wasn't even in front of us. Apparently this is what this day is going to be.
Alright, well, let's get through the introductions.
Well, you got to put your hat back on.
Jesus.
And you can't deny the people the hat.
I gotta deny that.
Yes, there we go. Fancy physics, beer goggles, man. All right. So, I will go ahead and we'll officially start the show now. You ready?
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Cosmos with Cosmos. As always, I'm Liz.
I'm Mike.
Brandon's on assignment, and it's high in the sky for March 2024. So we got fancy beer goggles man here, celebrating.
Yeah.
The holiday that is in March, which is St. Patrick's Day, where Americans just have an excuse to get drunk and dye random shit green and pinch each other.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah, don't be pinching.
I'm wearing green.
Don't be pinching.
You got any green on?
Yes, I do. In the earth.
Okay.
In the earth. I got some. All right. All right.
But maybe I'll still pinch you.
Don't pinch me. Meanwhile, you can tell me what you're drinking.
I'm drinking the Ruva.
The Ruva, mate.
The Ruva,
the
mate.
The Ruva, mate. What's in it?
Ruva, which has Bailey's Irish cream, brandy, and I've forgotten the other thing. Oh, coconut rum.
Oh.
The coconut rum's in it.
Last time, when we first did this, you forgot the Baileys.
I forgot the Bailey's. So Bailey's Irish cream, brandy, and coconut rum. And surprisingly, pretty good.
It is good. While I am drinking the Spike to My Liver right here, which is
brandy, Grand Marnier, little grenadine, and
an egg yolk.
Egg yolk.
It is very good. It's nice and creamy.
And both of these are gonna make the book.
Yeah, they're good. They're good dessert drinks.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yours isn't too sweet either, which is always nice. All right, well, you can follow us on all the things. Twitter @DrinkingCosmos and everywhere else, Cosmos with Cosmos. Also, follow some buddies of ours, Wildixia, Wildixia on Etsy for some amazing art. Mr. Ron Proctor at MrProctorShow.com, who likes the chickens, likes cigar box guitars.
All the way down.
And loves the universe. So, cool
and
stuff
Jack.
there. And, of course, Jack at the Rolling Bluffs Planetarium.
In Council Bluffs, Iowa.
In Iowa. So if you're in the Iowa's next of the woods.
Yeah, southwest corner.
If you're heading down there, check out Jack in his planetarium, because it'd be cool. And of course, if you want just some short form media, if you prefer your astronomy and just a single shot down the gullet, then check out The Shot that comes out every other Wednesdays. Shot-sized bits of astronomy and fun science topics. Meanwhile, we have some rules for the show, of course, here. If you hear a dog bark, they are in the room with us. We'll see how that goes. Both are... Goes.
Yeah, like goals?
Both are sleeping on cat beds. Even the big one. So they're weird.
She thinks that she's the size of a cat.
She really does, and she's not. I don't know how she folds her 70-pound lanky
But
body
she
into such a
does.
small ball, but
She's
she does.
origami. She's an origami dog.
Gosh, it's the force that she has. But if you hear some dogs bark, take a drink. And also, if we get nerdy and make any Star Wars or Lord of the Rings references, take a drink.
What I heard was, if we get married... Guess what, everybody? We got an announcement.
Surprise. And special rule of the show: as soon as Mike, fancy beer goggles man, takes those beer goggles off and the hat, if he wants, take a drink.
All right, which is now.
Now, yeah, because his eyeballs are dying.
Yeah. Here we go. I just left the hat on. Cheers, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the hat's really cute, though. I like the little hat. Oh, the beer goggles on my hat. She's too innocent. She's too innocent.
Go lie down. Go lie down. We got to do a show. We're doing a show.
You did this. All right. Let's get high in the sky for March 2024. Normally, we start off with a constellation highlight, but this time it's going to be not a constellation highlight. We're highlighting an asterism.
Hey!
It's going to be springtime in March. Spring will come, and that means rising in the southeast is the spring triangle. A triangle, which is a shape of 3 points, and there are 3 of them. A right triangle, an isosceles triangle, and an equilateral triangle. And you know how we know this is because we discussed this at length when we weren't live. But this triangle, the spring triangle, it is made of 3 bright stars in their own respective constellations. Arcturus, Spica, and Regulus in the constellations of Bootes, Virgo, and Leo the Lion, respectively. Starting with Arcturus, in fact, we saw Arcturus last night, and you also saw Regulus, but I was not paying attention apparently. Arcturus in Bootes, you can find it by using the Big Dipper! Hey. Now, the Big Dipper, very handy. As we've talked about before, you can use the bowl of the Big Dipper to find the North Star. But you can also use the handle of the Big Dipper. And the handle, you follow it along. It has that little arc in it. You follow that arc, and you arc to Arcturus. And then from Arcturus...
What do you do?
You spike on to Spica.
Spike on to Spica.
So it's a very handy little guide tool.
Yeah, the Big Dipper, it points to Regulus as well, and I think it's the same if you use the same 2 stars. Not Regulus, but Leo. That goes to the North Star. If you go the other way, it takes you to Leo.
It takes you to Leo. Very
I think
handy.
I'll have to go back and look at that.
That's some navigational astronomy for you. Not really, but okay. So Arcturus in Bootes, the bear herder, as he's known, because Bootes is near the big and little bears. The Big Dipper being a part of the Big Bear.
How does one get that job? I mean, who do you apply
you
with?
You just hang out near bears, and eventually people are just going to assume, oh, he's just herding them. Like, that's his job.
That's a hell of a resume thing, though, right? You know,
a bear herder?
Like,
well, I mean, I'm sure there's some Ringling Brothers that are...
If you're applying for herding jobs...
Yeah.
And, like, okay, there's this job herding sheep, like in New Zealand or something.
Herdindeed.com.
Yeah, exactly. And so, on your resume, you go, hey, I've herded bear before. That makes me infinitely qualified.
Not an issue. What about grizzly bears? You got any of those?
Yeah.
Been herding some bears through the forest. Yeah, I don't know, but he's the bear herder. Arcturus, actually, its name means guardian of the bear. And this star, it's 37 light years away, so not too far
close.
away. You know, it's a neighbor. It's about 6 to 8.5 billion years old.
So the light that left it, you were like 1 year old. If you go and look at it tonight.
If I go look at it tonight, I was like 1 year. That light left when I was 1.
Yeah.
And now.
Katie's light hadn't even gotten here yet.
What? God, I love space. I love it. Okay. It's not much bigger than our sun. So it'll die.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah. It'll die in a similar fashion.
Size-wise?
Size-wise, yeah, mass-wise. Like, it's not...
Oh, mass-wise.
Mass-wise. Mass-wise. Not size-wise. Size-wise is a giant orange star, so its radius is much bigger than the sun. I didn't write it down because I didn't feel like it was relevant to talk about. But mass-wise, it's similar to our sun, so it'll just kind of...
Just kind of at the end.
It'll just fart away, basically. Yeah. It's just going to fart away. That's what our sun will do. It'll fart away. And just...
But it's kind of at the end, though.
It's kind of, being a giant orange star. Yeah, it's come off the main sequence.
It's going to start fluffing here in a bit.
Yeah.
Or farting, as you say.
They're farting. It's going to be pooting off. All right.
Anyway, next star in the list.
The next one, of course, in the triangle is Spica. In Virgo. This is a bright binary blue-white star. These stars, they orbit each other in 4 days.
Oh, shit, that's quick.
So they're pretty close. So the gravity from them on the sides facing each other is like pulled, and so they have like an egg shape, like an oval shape, like a lobe on that side that's facing each other. Is
there any mass that's being transferred?
No, not that I...
saw
that was read about. They are 250 light years away. A little bit further. And
we're all haven't seen this light.
We haven't. Yeah. Spica actually means ear of grain, being in Virgo. Virgo is often depicted as a young woman with an ear of grain or corn.
I'm sorry. I just like the ears. So the U.S. wasn't even the U.S. when the light left Spica.
This is the new theme of the show. What was happening when light left stars?
Right, we were 2 years away from the Declaration of Independence. Anyway, roll it!
Regulus. Now, Regulus in Leo the Lion is a hold on to your britches. All right, is a quadruple star system. It's 2 separate pairs of stars, and it's 79 light years away. What was going on, Mike?
My parents are being born.
Oh.
So the light they see tonight, my dad was 2.5 miles away.
So to recap, Arcturus, I was being born. Spica, the country was being born. And Regulus, your parents were being born.
Hey!
That's actually kind of fun.
This is the stork of
stork triangle of these 3 things that only one is relevant to some people on the earth. And its name Regulus means little king. It is the heart of Leo the Lion. So to find Leo, you can use the Big Dipper, as we had said. You can also look for a backwards question mark shape of stars, and that's the head, like a sickle. It's also known as the sickle, and that is the head of Leo the Lion. And then there's more stars that make up the rest of it. But we're not talking about those this time. This isn't the Leo show. Now, the binary pairs, these binary pairs of stars in this quadruple star system, Jesus Christ, Regulus A and B is a bright blue star and possibly a white dwarf star. So what our sun will end up after it's dead, basically. But we don't know for sure that it is.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently. And Regulus C and D are an orange dwarf and a red dwarf, respectively, and they cannot be seen with the naked eye.
Okay, how do they not know that one of them is a white dwarf?
I don't know. Maybe just because maybe they're too close to each other that they can't really see. They can't really tell what it is. But however, we have a wild card in the triangle.
We do.
There is another point to the triangle.
Oh, so it's not really a triangle.
No, you can make it either a whatever shaped triangle it is using Regulus, or you can make it more of an equilateral triangle if you use another star in Leo called Denebula. And Denebula, it's a white main sequence star. It's kind of more towards the tail of Leo the Lion.
It is the tail.
It is the tail, yeah. So it means tail of the lion.
As we're going to find out. Okay, as we'll find out right now.
It tail of the lion. And so it makes the triangle more equal on each side if you're going to use Denebula. And it's a delta Scuti variable, which means its brightness fluctuates 10 times per day.
Oh, shit.
That's a lot.
Bam, 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 bam.
Just going. So with spring triangle, again, you can use either Regulus or Denebula in Leo to make it. And
Use both.
You know, those stars are going to be the brightest stars hanging out in that neck of the woods for the most part. So neck of the sky for the most part. So it should be easy to spot, even in a brightly lit area, like any city area.
Like Oak Ridge.
Yeah. Now further into space. If you have the use of telescopes, there are some deep sky objects. The Virgo cluster is hanging out within the Spring Triangle, which is a cluster of 1,500 galaxies. One of those, very famous one, M87. It's the brightest galaxy in the cluster. It's a super-giant elliptical galaxy, so that means it's like a huge, like football-shaped, rugby ball-shaped cluster of fucking stars. And it was discovered by Charles Messier in 1781.
The 87th object on his list.
Yeah.
I mean, Messier's got to be a shot. I gotta do a shot.
Yeah, we do. We might have talked about it
we
before, but it is 54 million light years away and 130,000 light years across.
Guess who's being born? I'm just kidding.
It's a big boy. It's a big boy, this galaxy.
Yeah, and M87 actually one of the Event Horizon black holes.
My next bullet point.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Yes, that's why it's famous. Is because in the heart of M87 lurks a supermassive black hole, as there are in pretty much all galaxies, large galaxies, and we got the first ever picture of a black hole, of this black hole, using the Event Horizon telescope in 2019.
Got it before the Milky Ways. But Hubble has a great shot, I think it's Hubble, that shows M87, and you see the jet coming out of it that comes from the black hole.
It's a black hole burp.
Yeah.
So M87, and then there's other ones in there that I was like, well, they're not relevant either. Like, that's the coolest one. There's some other stuff, but you need like telescopes and good telescopes to really check them out. So as far as you just going out and looking at the sky, just know there's other stuff out there.
I know Katie's comment has been there for a bit, but that's how we should sign off.
Science be wild.
Science be wild.
Science be wild, everybody. Peace out. Cosmos, cosmos. Science be wild. Remember. Science be wild.
Science be wild. You gotta remember that. Do we have to give Katie money now?
No.
I had no lunch. These drinks are gonna hit hard.
Why didn't I ate some drumsticks?
Well, I talked to my parents.
That's true.
Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
What else is up?
All right. So, of course, the asterisms and constellations are all made of other stars and stuff that are up there. A lot of good stuff to see. But not only are stars up there, but there are planets. There are planets. And
I saw one of them last night.
Yes, Jupiter.
Katie will take it away.
So March 15th to 31st, you may catch a glimpse of Mercury. You need a clear line of sight to the west, because it's only going to be about 7 to 10 degrees above the horizon. So us in the mountains, fat chance for us. But if you have a clearer horizon, then you can possibly catch a glimpse of Mercury. Mercury is the toughest one to see because it sits pretty close to the sun and often is lost in the sun's glare, either before before sunrise and after sunset. Hard to spot. However, Jupes, our best buddy Jupiter, he'll be hanging out near Mercury in the southwest sky at the beginning of the month. And I did have lunch. I don't know. And it'll set by the end of March at about 8 p.m. Pacific time. So most of the month that you'll be able to check out Jupes.
All of you guys who don't live here, you can do the math.
There you go. Yeah, see, that's why I said Pacific time. You convert it yourselves. And then Venus. We will say good morning to Venus. It'll be very low in the southeast before sunrise. So another one that you need kind of a better, clearer line of sight.
We won't be able to see it right now.
Spot. And it's best to look for it in the earlier bit of March.
You know who can see it? Iowa.
Iowa
is nothing but flat.
Is there no hills? I don't know. The Midwest makes no sense to me because I cannot picture just.
It's just
flat.
all of like everything in between, like the Appalachians and the Rockies, just it seems like it's just flat. So to me, like Iowa is like just a piece of paper, just flat. So basically, Jack can sit in Iowa and see to Colorado because it's flat.
That's how flat it is.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be like wild though?
I can see Russia from my house. What did you say? What?
Wouldn't that be wild though? Is what I said.
Yeah, it would be wild.
Because Earth be wild. All right.
Now we're just gonna be like everything.
Everything's
Everything
wild.
be wild.
All right. Now there are some astronomical events in March. Typically, there's some sort of astronomical event that's going on every month.
Usually.
But one of the ones that we're familiar with here in at least the United States is daylight savings time, when we spring those clocks forward, because you spring forward at this time of the year. And that is on March 10th at 2 a.m. is when we...
and remember, that only applies to the U.S. and only applies to certain parts of the U.S.
Yeah, only certain states.
Doesn't apply to the southern part of Indiana, Arizona, or Hawaii. And I have lived in every one of those spots, at least briefly, in my life.
I think Oregon was going to try and pass something for that, but then it failed. So I guess we're stuck.
Oh, well, California did. They basically, there's like people who are tired of flipping the clocks.
Yeah, it's annoying. Can we just stay on the same time all year?
And it got to a point where it was like, if 2/3 of the country decides
then they'll do it. They'll hop on board.
Yeah.
Stop being so cheap. Anyway, reminder to move those clocks forward on March 10th. The vernal equinox, meaning springtime, everybody. March 19th is when spring is springing, when it's coming out of the ground. Everything comes out of the ground, apparently.
That means
starting at that time.
Us here in the northern hemisphere, we own the sun for 6 months. Until we give it back.
Take that.
Take that,
Southern
New
Hemisphere.
Zealand.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Later in the month, on March 24th and 25th, will be a penumbral lunar eclipse. Check out our shot on eclipses. Not out yet, but it will be out actually soon. At some point, it will be out. When it's out, check it out.
In 2 weeks, guys. It'll be out.
This is a partial lunar eclipse, so that means the moon may look a little darker, but not really that noticeable for the most part for it.
I mean, it might go a little darker.
Its max eclipse will be at 12:12 a.m. Pacific time on, I'm assuming,
it kind of depends on how far into the penumbral shadowy.
I don't know, but because there's a penumbral lunar eclipse between the 24th and 25th, max eclipse being at 12:12 a.m. means that the 25th is also a full moon, because that's how eclipses
that's how they work.
And the March
eclipse is either going to be a full moon or a new moon.
Hey, eclipses be wild.
Okay. Next episode is going to be like, that's going to be a drinking.
The March full moon is known as the full worm moon. Now, initially, people thought, and I'm going to say white people thought, that it was about like earthworms. Like, that's when earthworms start to come out of the ground.
It's pretty good. It's pretty well into it.
Okay, well, so the moon might get a little dark.
Yeah, especially the bottom half.
Okay, nothing bad's gonna happen. It's not a bad omen. It's just physics at work. It's what's happening. It's just planetary physics. Anyway, so it's not about earthworms coming out of the ground. Apparently, in the 1760s, Captain Jonathan Carver visited the now CWC, Dakota, and other Native American tribes, and wrote that the name worm moon refers to a different sort of worm, beetle larvae. Which begin to emerge from the thawing bark of trees and other winter areas at this time. So it's actually beetle larvae coming out of the trees, out of the woodworks.
I don't like larvae. I don't like them. They look just like
you don't
maggots.
Like embryos? Those are human larvae.
Well,
embryos are human larvae!
And, hey, and in Alabama, they have citizenship rights now.
Look, okay, we gotta stop referring to embryos now as embryos and call them larvae, and much more people will be disgusted and more willing to preserve women's rights. Anyway. Announced there's a...
Welcome to the Culture Wars and Cosmos for Cosmos.
There is a... My mom now wants a t-shirt. I'm sure there's a t-shirt.
Oh, I gotta look that up. I meant to look that up. And then we got worms.
Well, those larvae be wild. Anyway, there is God, I had the word for it a second ago. A phenomenon, a light phenomenon that is apparently the best time to view it is in March, and this is what's called the zodiacal light.
I'm sorry, t-shirts.
In the game, head in the game.
I'm here.
George.
I'm here.
All right. Have you seen the zodiacal light ever?
I have not, but I've never lived somewhere where it's been dark enough to actually see it.
Okay, well
and
then
we have a shot here.
We have a shot then. It's seen shortly after sunset or shortly before dawn, and it's kind of this triangle-shaped faint glow that follows along the ecliptic, the plane of our solar system.
Did you say what caused it?
I don't know why I didn't write it down, what caused it, because I couldn't really understand it, but you can explain it.
Isn't it the sun's light illuminating the dust of the...
Yeah, it's like...
It's the sun's light illuminating the dust of the... In the plane of the
solar system. Yeah, so it's just getting
dust.
lit up.
It shows us how dusty we are.
It's like when you're in your room and you have the sunlight filtered in through the windows and you see all those dust particles in that strip of sunlight.
I mean,
that's what it is, basically.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're seeing a dusty sun.
We're seeing how dusty this is and how somebody needs to go through the solar system and clean it up.
Just got some white gloves just going around on all the planets. Just disgusting. Bunch of barbarians live here. All right, on to
Astronomy news.
Astronomy news. I don't have a lot of astronomy news for this episode.
Are you gonna do it all in 1930s?
No, because when I'm put on the spot, I can't do the voice. All right.
Next time, I won't put you on the spot, but I'll be secretly hoping you get 1930s.
All right. Well, in recent astronomy news, apparently NASA is looking for Martians. This has been news I saw in CNN. My mom sent a text with it. I got this bit of news, though, specifically from the Planetary Society. But apparently the agency, i.e. NASA, it opened a call for participants in a simulated year-long Mars mission. It's part of this thing called the Crew Health and Performance Exploration Analog, or CHAPIA.
And, I think they need to work with marketing people to come up with better acronyms that just play.
Yeah.
Better, because this CHAPIA means nothing to me. And so, what does that even mean?
I don't know, but this isn't the first one. I think this is the second one, and there's another one planned. But it's a 4-person volunteer crew that will be selected to live and work inside a 158 square meter habitat that is at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. And what's crazy is this habitat is 3D printed.
Hey.
Which I think is really cool. But then I'm like, how does it survive? But okay. I don't know. How do we make it? I don't know. Because everything 3D printed that I've seen so far has been a little plastic.
I know, right?
You know?
You gotta
I haven't seen anything legitimate printed 3D wise. Anyway, so this crew.
I'm sure NASA's 3D printers are just
light
years.
Then someone's at home that 3D little 3D pen thing that you've seen that you used to see like that's not gonna work. Anyway, so this crew, they're gonna simulate spacewalks and robotic operation. 3D printed be wild. Maintain their habitat, grow crops, and basically just kind of fake a Mars mission. Just kind of try to see what challenges pop up, and even in equipment failures and communications delays, all that stuff. If you're interested to be a fake Martian for science, then you can apply by April 2nd, 2024. There will apparently be compensation. And they're looking for people that are healthy, motivated U.S. citizens or permanent residents, non-smokers, 30 to 55 years old, and proficient in English for communication.
If you're younger than Arcturus, I mean, you can't go.
Then the light we see now from Arcturus.
If you're between Arcturus and whatever. But astronaut Leroy Chow, I think is his name, he wrote an essay that was also on CNN that came out at pretty much right after this announcement. But he was like, wait a minute, there's some things you need to consider before you do this. And he was talking about how, like, he had to think about his dogs. So, you know, you might be really all excited about running out and play.
Yeah.
But, you know, you do need to think about things. He said NASA's not going to worry about your... your dogs,
houseplants,
so exactly,
children.
And so he was like, I had to worry about my dogs. I set most everything up to where it would just automatically pay, so automatic bill pay. He said that he needed to have somebody come and cut his grass, and so he worked it out with them to where he figured out, you know, about how much it would cost. And if there was anything extra, he would have to settle up when he got back down. But there's a lot to consider to this. If you wanted to do it, there's a lot to consider. I mean,
but if you don't care about the life you leave behind,
but
go.
I mean, you have a really slim chance of being selected anyway. But you know, they're only taking 4 people.
Yeah, it's The book that I'm reading on space settlement by the Wienersmiths is very good, and they kind of they bring up these experiments like this, which, you know, we need to have, but at the same time they're not really accurate experiments because they're not on a different planet with entirely different gravity, radiation, temperatures, all this, you know, sharp fucking microscopic glass, rocky, dusty soil or you know, dirt. You know, so it's like it's more of a kind of let's see how these 4 humans, you know, survive each other for a year.
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
And the teamwork building skills or psychological.
If you're wanting to leave your significant other for a year, you need to make backup plans.
But also, it's not that accurate in terms of psychological because NASA's not going to let any of them die there. Whereas if you're on Mars and some shit goes wrong and you can't fix it, you're dead.
Oh, but wait a minute. But you're still.
But you have that knowledge that you can't just walk out of the habitat that's been 3D printed and go home and say you quit.
Walk out, but you're also thrown in with 3 other people that you don't know, and you have to figure out some way of you know, working with them. So I started reading the Mars policy book
it's not Mars policy, space settlement book.
Space settlement, that book. But then because they talk about Mars so much and people going there, I'm like, I want to reread Red Mars and all that. And so I started rereading Red Mars, Kim Stanley Robinson, and you know, they really do talk about the dynamics in a storytelling fashion, but the dynamics of, in that book is 100 people, but 103 people, it's just scale. You're scaling up from 4 to 100, but you know, different personalities. They're all driven, motivated, looking for motivated people.
And healthy, though.
So, I mean, you're looking for A-type personalities
God, it's a nightmare.
are
all
going
together. Can't have a room full
that
of
are going to
A's.
clash. And you know, NASA's going to throw shit at them to see how they react, and, you know.
They should just make it like Squid Games. Just make it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
where death happens.
So if you want to just do a little, if you need to get away from your life for a year, there you go. You can help NASA figure out what
make your backup plans, because chances are you aren't going to be selected. But anyway, go for it.
But in other news, there's a new Australian lunar rover named Rover. It's a rover. Australia's gonna have a lunar rover.
Hey.
Public naming contest is where the name comes from, because the kangaroo is what Australian is known for. That and Foster's.
What
Australian phobia, which they don't actually drink Foster's.
But there was also like a public naming.
McBodie face, McBodie face, whatever.
Face.
Something McBodie face,
yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah, but this
is why you don't do public naming.
The rover, it will launch to the moon as early as 2026 through a partnership with NASA's Artemis program.
Cool.
And it'll collect samples of regolith, the dusty, toxic surface of the moon, and do experiments to try and extract oxygen from it.
Nice.
So that's cool. So go Roovy. Rover.
Go Rover.
Go Rover.
In 2 years.
But also with the moon and landing on the moon, Houston, Odie has landed. Apparently,
I always think Garfield with this.
I didn't even know about this lander. Odysseus, which was probably because it's from a private company. This is the first successful lunar lander from basically a private company, a commercial company, to land on the moon, called Odysseus, Nova C Odysseus lander. It's part of a program called the Commercial Lunar Payload Services Program, or CLIPS.
Of course.
It landed in Malapert A crater in the South Pole region. And it's NASA's first landing on the moon since 1972.
NASA saved that mission, by the way. So it was they got there, and remember this is a private company, right?
Yeah.
And they were having navigation issues, but there was a piece of equipment that was on there that was from NASA, and whatever data, information, whatever was used to. So loud, was used to like make it work, and they were able to land and all that kind of stuff. So NASA,
let the professionals cover your asses.
We got you. We got you.
Okay. Got a very dark eyelash right there. Okay. Anyway, so the company that Odysseus was built by is called Intuitive Machines, and it has several things on board. It has a bunch of experiments. There's a telescope on top of it, built by the Lunar Observatory Association, and this is like a test one because they plan to build a larger one to send to the moon on a future mission, just to get some good views of the Earth. And
is there anything continue along?
Yes, there's an art installation, and some Columbia sportswear athletic gear, because I'm guessing Intuitive Machines needed a little extra money.
Oh my god.
Let the commercialization of space begin. Meanwhile, I'm wearing Columbia socks.
Oh my god. Alright. Cosmos, brought to you by Columbia.
No.
Art installation?
Yeah.
Who's the curator?
You know what? I didn't get any information on it, but I saw a picture that I think was it, and it was like a bunch of spheres.
Are they like little tiny pictures?
It was like spheres.
Is there like a little art gallery that like little tiny
like there's a little Louvre and there's little people inside.
Moon people walking.
Wouldn't that be fun if it was just like one of the it's the what art we've been there a couple times. I don't know if it was maybe it was the Phoenix Art Museum. Where it had the room with all the little models. It had like the little models that were like from the 1800s or whatever, and they were like little rooms that were
Phoenix
like
Art Museum.
Yeah. Like it's a
Cosmos,
diorama.
Brought to you by Phoenix Art Museum.
Art be wild. In last bit of the news, and Brandon will be happy for this one as he flies across over the earth. The UN committee, a UN committee will take up the issue of satellite interference with astronomy. Starlink. The committee is called Peaceful Uses on Outer Space. The UN Committee on Peaceful Uses of Outer Space. So Copious. Dark. Oh, wait, what? What do my notes say here? Basically, it's going to address the emerging issues that these satellites, like Starlink, that are these like clusters of satellites, essentially, what they're having, the effects that they're having on Earth-based astronomy, interfering with all kinds of telescopes, radio telescopes, optical.
Yeah, there's like video that you can get online that that shows from an observatory, astronomical observatory, of like the Starlink clusters that rise up, and it's just all these little bright dots.
Yeah.
And
so huge interference. And so according to Richard Green of the University of Arizona, he said that this is a significant diplomatic moment in astronomy. These issues have been brought up before at various other kind of like committees and conference meetings and stuff like this, but having it now actually officially on the agenda of a UN committee means that they can actually start to develop like recommendations on best practices and start to incorporate that into actual like laws and regulations, because there isn't really any sort of laws or regulations for that right now. It's a new thing that,
and to be honest, billionaires don't care. They're all about getting more money that they don't need. They really don't need it. And so
money be wild.
Money be useful for poor people. So and it's so expensive to have Starlink. Whatever. I mean, I get it. I understand. I approve of the initial thing. Advertising, marketing, whatever they want to do, where Starlink would bring, the internet to, basically poor areas of the world. But they make it so out of reach that nobody, because you get what is it, $500 for some box?
Yeah, I don't know
that
what they
allows
offer
you.
I don't know what they're offering to say.
Yeah, but then you have to spend $100 a month, whatever it is, for so whatever. Anyway, I'm trying not to be political. The drink's kicking in.
It's your bowler hat.
It's my bowler hat.
It's your bowler hat.
I'm just really glad it fits. It fits my head.
It does. I
was
head.
worried.
No, yeah.
I was worried that it wouldn't fit my head.
Yeah. No, it fits perfectly.
It'd be a little small, but it fits.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's great. It's great. So that's the news that we have. That's the things that we have in the sky to check out for March. Whether it be some planets, some constellations, or a partial lunar eclipse that fits your fancy. All we can do is sit here and recommend that you at night, every once in a while, step outside and just check it out. Just look up.
Which we were able to do last night.
Yeah.
Which was really nice. Well, can't do it tonight, but it's gonna be
cloudy. Yeah. But anyway, thanks for joining us on this episode of Cosmos with Cosmos, high in the sky for March 2024. We'll see you next time with a topic that we will figure out. In the meantime, in 2 weeks, you can also see what happens after the main show by checking out The Hangover, only on YouTube, on Cosmos with Cosmos, which will be starting right after this.
And remember, science be wild.
Science be wild. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Cheers, everybody.
Peace. If you're with us now, hang tight. We will be right back with The Hangover. Hey,
Hey,
Mike needed a snack.
I did. I do.
'Cause
Oh my god.
I remember yesterday where I was like, do we want these drumsticks for dinner tomorrow or do we want them as lunch before the pod? And you're like, we're going to need something to pad our bellies before the podcast.
Right, but I ain't talked to my parents.
Yeah, you can eat and talk at the same time.
No.
You're doing it right now.
I am. I apologize. This is loud on the microphone.
You could have gotten macaroni salad too.
Oh shit, that'd be quieter. But yeah, no, I was talking to my parents. It was and it went. I mean, it was like an hour and a half phone call. It was a good phone call.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
And we talked about my sister's wedding that's coming up in July, and bringing in Sam to the family. Sam. Just we're just talking about all kinds of things.
How many times have you forgotten that hat is on your head?
No, I constantly remember. I can feel it.
Oh, you're acutely aware of it? You want to take it off?
No.
We did the main show. You can take it off now.
No, it's
fine.
It's fun.
Okay.
It's not like the glasses.
Oh, yeah, because those were squishing your eyeballs out.
They hurt so bad. What was crazy, though, is when we bought them, so we walk into the grocery store, we see them, I'm like, oh, we get this somewhere for the podcast. And then put it in the basket and forgot about it. Not once, but twice. Like, halfway through, I'm like, oh, yeah, I got these stupid glasses. I'm going to go put them back. And you're like, no, you're going to wear them. And then I forgot about them until we got
You have the doggy old grave, sir.
And then we got to the checkout.
And then you forgot again. You're like,
I forgot again until she did it. And I was like, oh, so I got the bowler hat. I was talking to you. I got the bowler hat. And so I'll wear the glasses and then piss off everybody in Ireland by wearing the English hat. And she's like, not everybody. Like, because she's Irish.
She was Irish.
And I was like, no, you're not really Irish. Whatever.
You don't know.
I don't know.
She looked like she could be Irish.
She's probably Irish.
I don't know. Cool. Anyway.
Would you be one of the 4?
Oh, to go to Mars?
To do the Mars?
Or not to go to Mars, to go to fake Mars? No. Because it seems pretty pointless. I mean, there's so many things that we have to figure out with space settlement first that's like, why? What? It's not even a. It's not on a. It's not the experience. It's not an. It's not.
You don't get to go to Mars.
The variables in the experiment are not. It's still Earth-based at the end of the day. You're not even like in space. There's so much. As soon as you leave the protection of our atmosphere, like our bodies are truly and utterly fucked.
Yeah.
And we don't have the technology to not fuck them. Like, well, okay, this is...
What?
We don't have the technology yet because even astronauts on the ISS, like, they have to exercise so much on there to prevent the bone loss, yet, like, they still lose, like, a good chunk of bone mass.
Right. That doesn't even, like, take into account the radiation you're experiencing.
Yeah. You're constantly getting bombarded with radiation, and then and the ISS, you're in some sort of shielding,
right.
But that shielding is still not complete, But then when you're over in, say, Mars,
but to be fair though, the people on the ISS though are still kind of in that protective
they're
Earth bubble.
They're protected by the Earth's magnetic field still, so they're
but
not
they
even
still
getting.
They still get radiation, more radiation there than we get.
It's like they see we'll see flashes in their eyes when they're hit by like a cosmic ray. And cosmic rays being from stars going big boom.
Which is insane to think about.
A star went big boom, and then you see a flash of light, and you're like, oh, I was hit by a supernova. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you are detecting that supernova.
You're a human supernova detector in space.
In ISS. Pop, pop, pop. You see all the flashes and stuff like that.
Yeah, but also that's definitely not going to be good for you. No. Our bodies seem to be very susceptible to cancer from a variety of things that will cause it.
So most
And
of the
space,
radiation,
I think, would be a good.
most of that energy and that radiation passes through you and doesn't hit anything. Thankfully, but on occasion though, you do have like a cosmic ray that might hit a photoreceptor in your eye, and you see that flash. So that's a good thing. But you are going to have some that hit DNA and rewrite it.
And that DNA
Which
goes,
is
wow!
not a good thing. So, would you go to Mars? That's a tougher question.
Yeah. No.
You wouldn't?
No, because, I
What
thought...
What if you could take Leia, Jack, and Winter?
No, because they would not survive. Because we would probably not survive. But at this stage in the game, maybe we'll see where we're at in 500 years and what resources have been devoted to space settlement and whatnot, and technologies developed.
Will we have killed each other in 500 years?
Possibly. But yeah, before, I think when The Martian came out, and I was like, yeah, because it'd be the once in a lifetime epic, it'd be cool, blah, blah, blah. But now I'm like, it's largely gonna be like really uncomfortable, and just like gross, and you're gonna have dust all over you probably constantly.
Well, especially with Mars. Because it's not even dust.
It still takes
fines. It's even finer than dust.
Yeah, you can't talk one-on-one with people because it's like there's still like a 20-minute signal delay or some bullshit.
Well, here.
Skyping, it would be, not immediate. There's still a delay. So then it's like, oh, do we even get Netflix? I can't even, but, and then it's like, you're gonna be hungry because you're gonna, but we don't even have a way to grow food there yet, or figure even out how to grow food, because the food we don't even know if the food can grow with the radiation. There's a lot of things. Also. All
right, so you wouldn't want to be in the first group. You would want to be down the line. I mean, to go to Mars.
Yeah, if we were at a point where you could have just like, hey, I'm heading out to, well, even then the trip is gonna be at least a couple years long.
9 months.
So, I don't know. It just seems like nah. Maybe if we can get teleporters.
The longest path is 9 months. I mean, you could do some things that might make it shorter.
I mean, yeah, but think of that on a plane. Right? Equate the air travel that we've A, developed, and B, have refined since its development. Think of commercial air travel right now, and now expand that type of a flight to 9 months, because damn well that corporations have to get involved with it, and they're gonna penny pinch wherever they can. So can you imagine that Mars journey? Just like, what, you got the middle seat going to Mars?
Yeah, well, thankfully, corporations aren't going to be doing this. It'd be NASA. Sure, they're going to work with
because the Falcon 9
but...
rocket got Odie to the moon, and that's SpaceX. So.
Well, yeah, but still, you're going to have NASA that's heading it, and like with
no, but I'm saying once we get to that point, it's going to be. Yeah. Look at what's happened now. I mean, we got a fucking Tesla just now floating out in space as space debris.
So dumb.
Just like the biggest piece of litter.
But think about it that you do that. It is the end worth that 9 months.
Mars is typically, unless it's the summertime along the equator, pretty fucking cold. It doesn't have an atmosphere you can breathe. No. It's got toxic dust.
So there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong. But
yeah, and I don't want to have to science the shit out of anything. All right, because that's not gonna happen well.
Science be wild.
Science be wild.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough, Like if NASA were to come to me right now, which they're not gonna do, but if they did, I'm like, hey,
They
you want
might
to go to
now,
Mars?
seeing how refined you look. You gotta dress the part. Dress for success.
You want to go to Mars? I mean, I would think about it.
I mean, yeah, sure, I think about it, but then at the end of the day, I'm like, occasionally I'm gonna want, like, a fucking pizza. You know?
Yeah, no, I got you.
You know, I'm gonna want, like, a normal bed to sleep in at some point.
I'm like, can I go to Mars before my sister's wedding?
I'm gonna want to,
I'm just kidding, Ricky.
not
If you listen to this, I'm just kidding.
get cancer.
I want to go to your... I know, right? Oh, my God. Yeah.
So, I mean, but wow, okay, it would be amazing, yes, to go to Mars, to see it in person, to see what an actual fucking non-light polluted, completely zero light pollution sky would look like.
Okay, but to be fair, you can get that on Earth. You don't have to go to Mars for that.
No, but there's still light somewhere. There's a you still...
You can go, like, in the middle of the Sahara or something.
Yeah, but I'm
Death
sure there's
Valley.
still some kind of fucking glow.
I'm sure there
You
is,
know?
but,
Ancient times, no light polluted because there's no humans around.
I just think...
And to hear absolutely nothing. The quiet. The absolute quiet. No birds. No frogs. Just the sound of your own thoughts and your heart beating.
That can be very disconcerting.
Yeah, I want to see what it feels like, what it's like. That would be a draw. I'd just be like, what does other emptiness and solitude feel like?
I would have to seriously consider it. The problem is, though, I don't want to leave you, and I mean, you laugh, but it's true. You mentioned, Skype. There is no one-way conversation. Mars Skype. It is, hey, I walked on Mars today.
Yeah,
how's your day?
It's not a.
There's no conversation. It's a one-way trip. That's 9 months. You hang out for a few months.
Yeah, and if I want to be miserable for 9 months, just get pregnant.
Okay. So 9 months to get there. You have to hang out for a certain amount of time for the planets to realign for you to launch again. It's not like Apollo where you're hanging out for
that's what I mean. It's a
3
long
days.
trip. It's not just a weekend.
And then,
not going on a weekender to Mars.
And then, so you're there for a few months, and then a couple months, and then you head on back. Well, I'm not hitting you.
I know, but it's very slamming your arm.
So it's 9 months to go back. So you're talking 2 years.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said earlier. I was like, it's like a 2-year trip.
Yeah.
It's not a weekender. But to see Olympus Mons in person and actually Mariner Valley and to take in the scale of them with your own eyes, because you can look at pictures and you can have people put comparative pictures next to them and be like, this is how big it is compared to the Grand Canyon, but it means nothing because you don't actually have that scale of in-person frame of reference of what it actually would look like. So to see those in person would be like, wow.
The thing with Mariner Valley, though... Okay, all right, hold on. No, Olympus Mons. All right, Mariner Valley is more dramatic because you can stand at the edge and you can see the canyon.
Wasn't formed by water.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's basically the rip of a planet. But you can stand at the edge and you can see the canyon, and it's super cool. Mm-hmm. Olympus Mons is so large. It's so big that you don't ever see the top of it until you get close to the top of it. The top is always beyond the horizon because Mars is so much smaller, the horizon is so much closer to you that you never really get to see it. And so then when you are on top of Olympus Mons, you don't really get to see the rest of Mars. Because
it's not a dramatic height, it's a slope.
It's a very gentle slope to the top of Olympus Mons.
Well, then I'll be disappointed by Olympus Mons.
Yeah, so Olympus Mons is the largest mountain in the entire solar system. It is a shield volcano. So it basically is a cone.
Just like ones we have on Earth. Same
Yeah,
thing.
just like we have on Earth. It could cover the entire state of Arizona, and it would stretch, what is it, something like 20 miles in the sky is like 2.5 times taller than Mount Everest, something like that.
It like even breaks Mars's like little fin.
Yeah, it actually
it goes into space.
Pops through the atmosphere of Mars.
So the question is this a hill you want to die on?
I mean, I'm tempted. I'm tempted. Yeah, no, I mean, it's very tempting.
All right, if I could go when I'm like 85 and everybody else is dead, and I'm just like hanging. Me? Yeah, like you, everybody. Well, Katie might be still around though. Actually, Katie should be still around.
Remember, she's not even an Arcturus.
That's right. She's not even.
You're not even an Arcturus.
She hasn't had the light of Arcturus hit her eyes yet. But Katie'll have her own life to deal with, you know. She'll have her own aches and pains. So, you know, maybe then I'd be like, all right.
I mean,
I'm going to Mars.
At
I'm going to go die on this.
At 80, 85, Katie might be like, yeah, planet. You need to go to Mars. I have spent 80 years with you.
Katie's going to be taking care of me when I'm 85. Then I'll be no more burden for her. I'll be like, let me not be a burden for you anymore. I'm popping off to the red planet.
Katie's like, I've had you for 9 years. It's time for somebody else to have you. I remember the early days with you.
If I hear one more fucking pun or ridiculous dad joke, I will shoot you to Mars myself.
Yeah, like a big cannon. You know, like the old, like, you know... Yeah. Early days of film.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. That would kill somebody instantly if they were shot out of it.
Which is a very throwback thing, though.
If I'm elderly and all, just pretty much on my way out, senile, whatever, I'll go to the moon. Fuck it. I'll just go to the moon and hang out there too. You know.
Yeah, just get away from Earth.
Yeah, but still see it, you know, get a nice view of it, you know, and just still enjoy it. Like, hey, you look pretty from up here.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming by the time I am in my elderly eras, the Earth isn't going to turn into looking like fucking
like just
Coruscant or some shit.
Yeah. Like... I mean, though, it might, but before it becomes like Coruscant. Do we have to take a drink?
No,
before Coruscant, though, it's just going to be this brown haze, smog haze over Earth. It's... Oh, God. Why can't we love the Earth? Why can't we love the Earth as much as we love money?
Which, ironically, is the things that we need to make money.
Yeah, and I'm the first to sit here and say I do like money because it allows me to get like an Xbox or games to go on it.
Yeah, but if somebody could get their ass out of their heads out of their asses and make a fucking replicator already.
Oh, I know, right?
I mean, come on, all you MIT, Caltech smart people. What are you doing with your lives?
Yeah.
Let's get some technology that's gonna.
Yeah, we're calling you out, MIT.
You know, all right.
Yeah, MIT. Fucking MIT.
You smart bastards.
Yeah.
Get the replicators going. Teleporters, I don't know.
Yeah. Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Whatever your team name is.
What sports teams do they have?
Oh shit, I gotta look.
Do they have a sports team? Does it play football? It's just a bunch of
I know, right? MIT.
The MIT.
What is it?
Texas
mascot.
Instruments.
That would be great. It was like
the MIT. What are those called when you do with the circles?
It is Tim, the beaver.
The MIT Beavers.
Oh no, it's Tim the beaver.
The MIT, but no, their mascot's name is Tim. But what's their mascot?
The beaver. Tim the beaver.
Yeah, so it's beavers.
It's
and
like
Tim is there.
It's like Oregon, the University of Oregon, and beavers, right? They're the beavers, right? Or
Oregon State University is the Beavers.
was
The University of Oregon is the Ducks.
oh sure, whatever.
I don't know. I don't know.
We follow sports in this house.
We live near the Ducks one.
Oh, okay. And then that's Oregon. But Oregon State though is not far from Oregon.
No, it's just like an hour
minutes
away.
You think like they're all like friends
Or
and like, everything?
An hour and a half away.
Oh, it's like an hour and a half. It's a little further than I
Yeah,
thought.
it's in Corvallis.
Oh. No, that's like whatever. The only sports that we watch has been rugby lately, and Liz actually got into it the other day when we were watching it yesterday.
I mean, it's fun.
It's violent. It's so violent.
I mean, I prefer the violence. The more violent the sport, then the better, in my opinion.
There's
Otherwise,
just-
what's the point to
There's
it?
just like blood everywhere,
Yeah.
but fewer concussions in rugby than in American
Yeah, because
football.
they're smart. They're like, hey guys, our heads aren't protected. Let's not use them. And they agree on that premise.
I pulled a Davidson.
As well, you are one at this point. And they agree on that premise as nice human beings that can agree to be like, yeah, let's not give each other head injuries. Meanwhile, in America, we got helmets, we're fine. Let's headbutt each other all day long.
So there's this big tournament going on.
There's a reason why the Renaissance didn't happen here, folks.
Yeah, I know, right? There's a big
We also
tournament.
won the country, but anyway.
There's a big rugby tournament going on called the Six Nations, and it has Ireland, Wales, England, Scotland, France, and Italy. And
Only six?
Only six. And
Does none of the other European countries they care to play?
they just might not have been invited. And so
the big powers were like, we will play together. The big allied powers.
Okay. First of all, Federico, congratulations. Italy will not get a wooden spoon.
Maybe he doesn't know yet.
I'm sure
Maybe he
knows.
watched. Just do you know if he watches rugby?
Does
he care?
He watches more like the real soccer football.
He likes the footwork.
But he does.
He's more of a foot man.
He kind of follows it a little bit, but Italy's not getting a wooden spoon. But sorry, Federico, Italy is not a powerhouse. Neither is Wales.
For those of you that are wondering, what's a wooden spoon? Because, I mean, I'd take a free wooden spoon, right? Wooden spoons, you can't go wrong with them. They're good for baking
It's a
and
really
stirring.
big spoon. Too.
But the wooden spoon is when when you don't win any games at all.
Right.
In this tournament.
In this tournament, any of the countries will play all of the other 5 countries, and if you lose all 5 games, then you get a wooden spoon, which is fun. But anyway.
But why though?
You know,
like, what is the symbolism behind this wooden spoon?
I don't know the symbolism behind it, but to me, it's a participation trophy, and it's a bit of a dig, a little bit, but so Italy today tied France. They didn't lose to them, so technically they don't get a wooden spoon. But
that's right. Nations that accept a tie as all right. Time's up, and you guys, no one scored. You guys tied. Game's over. It's fine.
Yeah.
We don't need to play any longer. Meanwhile, we're like, no, we will play until someone dies or wins.
But it's so violent, but it's such a gentleman's game. It really is. I mean, all right, Lang, go lie down. Good.
It's
go lie down.
chivalrous. It's a chivalrous game.
They had this sound bite so the refs now they're mic'd up because of technology, and it was just so polite. The ref talking to the guy, he's like, "Options, please," or whatever. What option are you going to select, please? It was very polite and gentlemanly, and there really is in rugby a tradition where the referee. The umpire, whatever you want to call them,
referee, umpires for baseball.
Yeah, they're almost revered in rugby. There is a big respect to the referees, and
unlike every other sport, or at least
right.
American
and
sport.
So, like with rugby, you don't see people
getting
into refs' face. You don't see
Ref
that.
doesn't have to toss anyone out?
they will toss people out. They'll give red cards to people. But like in the Rugby World Cup, which happened last year, was it?
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah, because you watched it.
Yeah. But 2023. So Rugby World Cup last year. One of the New Zealand captain, he tackled a guy, and it was head-to-head he hit his head.
Head-to-head combat.
Yeah.
Contact.
So he hit his head, and he got a yellow card. Well, in the middle of it, you can upgrade it. So they start looking at, okay, you have these people in the control room that are watching it.
They do the slow motion.
They do the slow motion, and then they ask the question: could he have avoided it? If the answer is yes, it gets upgraded to a red card.
Oh.
And at that point, you're out of the game.
But I mean,
Jack, seriously?
I was trying to play with Leia.
But anyway, yeah. So, but at no point did the captain of the All Blacks, the New Zealand team, blame the referee. He was this was my fault. He did, and all this kind of stuff. And, the referee is just put on a pedestal.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, where unlike here, you can have players get in the referee's face. There's no astronomy connection to this.
How would sports be affected on Mars? What sports would be best suited for Mars?
Oh, well, basketball you could shoot from
because if anybody's gonna actually that people are gonna need to play games. I mean, you'll get the streaming and stuff. I'm sure there will be a Google satellite hanging out at Mars, streaming in all the shit. But you'll have
It basically comes down to anything that's gravity oriented. So if you
unless they need to build a stadium as part of the habitat that's all.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to increase the gravity. And so if you're playing basketball, you're kind of limited in how far away from the basket you can shoot, depending on how strong you are. Because gravity, you're going to propel the ball up. Gravity is going to pull it down.
We'd have to make that. There would be new Martian sports games made.
Right, but
also Mars
balls, and so you can shoot from further because it's going to go. Yeah, you can it's going to go further before it comes down.
Oh, then frisbee.
But
could be
also,
crazy.
Frisbee's going to be a little bit weird because you don't have a thick atmosphere. You got to thick that shit up.
You gotta thick that shit up.
You
got this is every white boy that likes a big lady or that's wants a big lady. Hey, you gotta thick that shit up.
Right. And so, but also you're gonna have to raise the goals for soccer, for basketball, it could go up higher because you can jump higher.
Mars, the only place where a white man can jump.
Yeah, but. If we're going to continue with this way of thinking...
No. I'm making dumb jokes.
Right. No, I got you. But, yeah, so you got to raise it. You're going to have to raise it.
What could be a new Martian sport?
Oh, I don't know. Because I'm not good at inventing sports.
No, you've never tried to invent a sport? No. It's not on your list of on your resume?
I probably did
things you're good at?
I probably did as a kid because, as a kid, don't we all play some game and then change the rules halfway through it?
Oh,
it's like inventing a sport.
Yeah.
Change the rules so that it benefits you.
Yeah, that's how my family plays Uno. We don't play by traditional Uno rules. We kind of have our own.
But wait a minute, no.
They're for the most part traditional. We play draw four. We play draw fours whenever.
No, but it's still a draw four.
No, but typically you can't play a draw four if you have the color.
Got you.
If you can play a card, you technically aren't supposed to be able to play a draw four, but we don't play that way. It's a Wild West. We're Wild West.
I got to tell you, Uno in the Davison household is cutthroat because somebody will play a card and everybody else is just watching and just waiting. And in their heads, they have a countdown. I don't know. And the magic number is probably 2. And if it gets to 2, they're like, you didn't say Uno, draw a card. And it's usually Liz's mom who has
Look,
to
you
draw
gotta be on
that
top
card.
of it. You gotta pay attention. If you got Uno, you gotta claim that shit real quick. Otherwise,
They give Liz's mom a moment. But they're like, draw a card. You didn't say Uno. And your mom's like, wait a minute. That's not fair. Lan, go lie down. Go lie down. Go lie down. Go lie down, seriously. We're doing a thing. We're in a show. You're in charge, by the way.
Oh, I guess I am in charge. Oh my God, Leia, did you hear that? Did everybody hear that? Leia was gagging. She stretched and then she gagged. She's a classy lady. That's why she's not Princess Leia Organa. She's General Leia Organa because she can just make whatever sound she wants out of her mouth.
But that's the only.
We do wait a heartbeat, Mom. We wait a heartbeat. We wait. We go up, and then we go. All right.
There is a count. I think there's an internal count, but it really is interesting to watch. The eyes look at your mom like sharks. They are like sharks smelling blood and water. And I'll be honest, I've kind of taken up the mantle of that. I've embraced that mentality.
The competitiveness of Davison game night.
It really is. It really is competitive.
It's just funny to see how mad Adam gets when he's not doing well in a game, whether it be Yahtzee or Uno. Adam gets real mad.
I guess I just never pictured Adam being as super competitive.
I know he gives off very
super
chill.
Competitive.
He gives off very chill, low key,
Meanwhile,
vibes.
Meanwhile, there's me, who used to be all about sports and stuff like that, and very competitive.
We just did a whole thing talking about rugby, so I don't think you can say used to be into sports.
No, okay, but what I mean is being competitive, and I really did think that when you're on the field you're competitive, when you're off it's we're all good friends.
Humans.
We're all good friends, and which is a very rugby way of looking at the world before I was interested in rugby.
You're British at heart, is what it is, I guess.
I might be. I'm gonna say Irish. I'm gonna say I'm a Kiwi, in New Zealand. But anyway,
wearing the hat.
I'm not as competitive. I just want to unload cards in Uno. But oh God, Adam. Oh, he's very competitive, which I never would have thought, and he doesn't take it very well. When I mean, okay, it's a very he takes it well, so don't get that, but. He doesn't like it.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't like it.
But then again, I don't like it either. Hi, sweet boy. We got a little Captain Jack Sparrow that came out below us here to say hi. Do you want to come up here? Well, I'm about to end the show anyway, so I figure, we could get a little cameo from Captain Jack. Jackie, you want to come up? Jackie, come on. Jackie, come on. Oh, here he is. Here he is, Captain Jack Sparrow. Oh. Seriously?
And Leia comes over here, but out of shot.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, on that note, I mean, we did a lot that I wasn't expecting to talk about on this episode. From if we would go to Mars, which apparently it's I'm no, and you're maybe. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
I would do it.
Okay.
I always thought that you would go.
I mean, I used to think that way, but now I'm like, it's not that, it wouldn't be that great physically feeling, and, it's not going to be a fun time, in my opinion. Anyway, through some rugby, through how competitive the Davison family is at Uno, so...
Very competitive.
Watch it if you play with us. So I think that we'll go ahead and call it now. The Hangover with Cosmos.
Remember, science be wild.
Science be wild. Of course, you can check out all of our episodes on YouTube, Cosmos with Cosmos, and where you get your podcasts, like Spotify and Apple, Cosmos with Cosmos. We have every other Wednesday I'm trying to move the mic so you can see Jack better. The Shot with Cosmos, just, shots of astronomy science, just short little bits of fun astronomy stories and science that you can check out. And, of course, follow us on all the things at Drinking Cosmos on Twitter and Cosmos with Cosmos everywhere else. We'll be back in a couple weeks. We'll see you next time with a topic to be determined. We'll find out.
No
but
idea.
For now,
probably somebody.
Bye,
Cheers.
everyone.
Bye.
YouTube's be a wild.